I have a question for you. Do you find yourself constantly dealing with a micromanaging boss? If so, you're not alone. I too, in my career, have dealt with a lot of micromanaging supervisors. So, in order for you to reclaim your productivity as well as your identity and autonomy at work, I'm going to share with you today my top tips for navigating working with a micromanaging boss. If you're new here, my name is Michael, and I'm a higher education leader that is based in Los Angeles, California, and I hold my doctorate in organizational leadership. Now, over the course of my 20-year career, I've dealt with a lot of challenging situations, and so it's my goal on this channel to help you as a leader navigate some of those challenges through strategies in a way that's practical and actionable to your workplace. So when we think about micromanaging, we often think of supervisors and bosses that are really just overly invested and overly bearing when it comes to an employee's work. But really, it's much more than that. Oftentimes, the littlest minor details are being scrutinized of every employee that is under that boss's supervision, and it really makes them feel demoralized and devalued in the organization. And the one thing you want to keep in mind is it's really not necessarily the employee that's doing a bad job, but it's really the boss's insecurities or need to control the situation at hand so that their goals and objectives can be met. And when you're dealing with a micromanaged environment, creativity and motivation are surely going to plummet. Employees are not going to feel safe, and they're not going to feel like they can do their job successfully without that oversight. Now, conversely, when employees are trusted to do their work, they're going to be invigorated, they're going to be engaged, and they're going to want to come to the office to do their jobs productively. So it's really important for you to be able to understand and navigate all those nuances of micromanagement so that you can have a successful place to work in. So I'm going to share with you my top 5 strategies of dealing with a micromanaging boss and just an environment in general so that you could overcome that in your workplace. Strategy number 1 is communication. Communication is king in a lot of things, but it's especially important when you're dealing with a micromanager. And it's not really necessarily about talking more, it's about talking smart. So a really good way to go about this would be scheduling one-on-one meetings with your supervisor and come from a place of empathy when you do talk to them, because you really don't know what the pressures they might be under, what they're facing from their higher level supervisors. And it may be just a reflection upon that pressure and not necessarily a reflection upon your work that you're doing in the workspace. And when you come to this meeting to communicate, have instances in mind where you felt like you were being micromanaged. And don't just offer complaints, but offer solutions that you could come up with collaboratively to work through these micromanaging issues in this time where you feel stifled in your position. Strategy 2 is proactive updates. One sure way to ease the anxiety of your micromanaging boss is to be proactive in sending your updates, making sure you're sending status reports on a regular basis. That way, your boss will know where you stand at all times and knows that you're moving forward with the goals and objectives that they set forth for you to do. And the best way to go about this is to send clear, concise updates on a regular basis. So if you do have that weekly meeting, like I mentioned, perhaps at the end of that week, if you have your weekly meeting on a Monday, at the end of the week on a Friday, you could send them this log that goes over everything that you worked on for the week, and it'll set that boss's mindset with a little more ease and squelch their anxiety to some degree. And your updates should be really brief yet comprehensive, identifying all the accomplishments that you made and also the challenges that you're having, and identifying ways that you're overcoming those challenges in the workplace. And really, this approach shows that you're in control and that you will preempt your boss's urge to check in constantly with you. And ultimately, this will end up building a level of trust within the organization for you and your boss, so that he or she knows that you could be trusted to meet the goals and objectives that you've set forth for them to do. Strategy 3 is ask for feedback. Now, feedback is really a two-way street when it comes to any relationship in an organization. But when you ask for feedback from your boss, it'll not only show that you respect them, but it'll also continue to aid to build that trust with you and your boss in the relationship that you have with one another. And you really want to approach these feedback sessions with an open mind and moving the organization forward in general. And you want to be sure you take notes and making sure that you're acting upon the advice that they're giving you to really, again, develop that trust and that mutual understanding of how each other works best in the organization. And using this proactive approach of having feedback sessions with each other, you'll really shift away from a micromanaging style to more of a mentorship style. And ultimately, that's really what employees want in the workplace. They want somebody to mentor them, to give them the autonomy and freedom to do their work and not micromanage them in the workplace. I really hope you're enjoying this video, everybody, and be sure and subscribe to get regular updates from my channel as I post videos on a weekly basis. And also be sure to check out the link in the description of the video. There you will find a free PDF resource to help you navigate generational differences that you're dealing with in your workplace. Strategy 4 is set boundaries. And in terms of setting your boundaries, you really want to be firm yet polite and really show to your boss that the constant interruptions and oversight is really stifling your work. And you really need to have set boundaries in the workplace in order for you to thrive. And here again, you could propose set check-in times that work for the both of you so that your uninterrupted time of focused work is really that, so that you're not being constantly bombarded with inquiries. When you have set times to meet with each other, that'll take away that need to micromanage. And one thing you need to remember as an employee, there are going to be urgent things that come up, things that are not necessarily done out of micromanaging, but out of a need for the organization. So you need to be flexible when it comes to these boundaries to help accommodate dealing with and stepping in when there's a need to help with urgent needs going on in the organization. And finally, strategy 5 is empowering your boss. Now, this may seem counterintuitive, but it's really showing your value of working autonomously in the workplace. And here you want to show how your independence in certain projects have led to positive outcomes for the organization, and also how it has improved your boss's reputation in the organization as well, to really empower them and let them know that they're being effective in their supervision of you without the need to micromanage. And here too, you want to include your boss and setting goals and metrics for success. And by including them, it's going to be a more of a collaborative type of approach rather than a constant bearing down on you and a stifling approach to their management of your work. And before I go today, if you work with any introverts, be sure to check out my other video here where I share my 5 top strategies for communicating effectively with introverts at work. That's all for this week, everybody. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.